The Big Apple, the city that never sleeps, the Empire City. That's right, today we're talking about New York City, home to Wall Street, Broadway, and the best bagels in the continental United States. If you want to fight me on that, feel free to send me your bagels for comparison. But how much do you know about this city? Hail a cab? Yes, they do still exist. And keep an eye on that meter. We've got 10 facts about NYC coming up on Fact Bites. Before we take you on a tour from the Battery all the way to the Heights, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. And if you like this video, check out our 10 little-known facts about Washington, D.C. New York City is located along the eastern seaboard of the United States, in southern New York State, across the Hudson River from New Jersey. The city is made up of 5 boroughs: Staten Island, Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Manhattan. About 20 million people call the NYC metro area home. That's including the city proper, urban, and metropolitan areas. And that statistic leads us to fact number 1. New York City is the largest city by population in the United States. According to the U.S. Census estimates from 2021, about 8,467,513 people live in NYC. Estimates now say that as of 2023, it's more like 8,992,908 people live in NYC proper. That's over twice as many as the next largest city, Los Angeles, coming in at only an estimated 3,930,586 people. No wonder the rent is so high in New York. There's barely any space for anybody. With all those people, NYC's got to have a lot of services, which leads us to fact number 2. New York City has the largest fire department in the United States. The origins of the New York City Fire Department actually date back to 1648, when Manhattan was a Dutch colony. Firefighters began as volunteers, and residents were given wooden rattles to sound alarms and fought fires with leather buckets and the nearest river. Eventually, the city outgrew this system of firefighting, and in 1865, a paid professional firefighting force was established, which is today's FDNY. Today, the fire department employs approximately 10,951 uniformed firefighting employees, 4,274 uniformed EMS employees, and 2,096 civilian employees, making them the largest fire department in the U.S. and the second largest fire department worldwide. Tokyo seems to have us beat by a little over 1,000 employees. Factoid number 3. Everybody knows that in New York, you can be a new man, and you've probably heard of Ellis Island. Between its opening in 1892 until it closed in 1954, Ellis Island was the primary entry point for immigrants arriving in the United States. As many as 12 million immigrants passed through its gates, and an estimated 40% of all Americans alive today are descended from these new arrivals. But that was far from America's first port of entry for new arrivals. For nearly 40 years, Castle Garden in Battery Park was the site where most immigrants entered the country. Initially built to keep the British out during the War of 1812, the castle eventually became the welcoming point for millions of immigrants. Today, it's a national park and open to tourists. But speaking of Ellis Island, you can't mention New York without bringing up Lady Liberty herself. That's right, fact number 4 is the history of the Statue of Liberty. First off, she's French. In 1865, Frenchman Edouard de la Balaie proposed the idea of presenting a monumental gift from the people of France to the people of the United States. La Balaie was a major political thinker in France and was hoping to bring democracy to his country that was currently under the rule of Emperor Napoleon III. He believed in the American ideals of freedom, justice, and liberty for all so deeply that he wanted to commemorate the 100-year anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. According to historians, La Balaie was also moved by the 13th Amendment that abolished slavery in the U.S. Remember, this was 1865, so we'd just gotten out of the Civil War. By all accounts, Laboulaye was just a super nice guy who wanted to be friends with America so that France would follow her example and become a democracy. Sculptor Frederic Auguste Bartholdi worked with Laboulaye and began conceptualizing the statue that they named Liberty Enlightening the World. That's right, Statue of Liberty is not her official name. Each element of Bartholdi's design was chosen to represent specific things. Her torch represents enlightenment and progress. Her crown has 7 spikes, evoking sun rays. These represent the 7 continents and 7 seas of the world. The tablet in her arms was inscribed with July 4th, 1776 in Roman numerals as a nod to American independence, and to symbolize the end of slavery, she is stepping over a broken shackle and chains. Construction of the statue was completed in 1884 in France. It was then disassembled and crated off to the United States. The statue had to wait to be reassembled while a pedestal was built, but it was officially dedicated on October 28, 1886, by President Grover Cleveland. All right, speaking of iconic American landmarks, fact number 5. Did you know that the Empire State Building was hit by a B-25 bomber? Built in 1931, the 102-story skyscraper was the tallest building in the world for decades. On July 28, 1945, a B-25 bomber flew into the building. The plane was flying to Newark Airport and got lost in the fog. It struck the Empire State Building between the 78th and 79th floors. Tragically, 14 people died, but the building's structural integrity was not damaged. Despite the accident, the building was open for business 2 days later. All right, fact number 6. When people call New York City an urban jungle, they are not that far off. Nearly 22% of the city's land is devoted to parks. 99% of the city's residents are less than a 10-minute walk from a park. Possibly the most famous of all the city's parks is New York Central Park, located in Midtown Manhattan and encompassing nearly 850 acres. All right, so urban forest would be a little more accurate given New York's climate, but we'll give that one a pass. Number 7. Behind Los Angeles, New York City is the second most filmed city in the world. New York is the hometown of some of the biggest actors, directors, and creative minds in Hollywood. This includes Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr., Jon Favreau, Martin Scorsese, Rosario Dawson, Anne Hathaway, Angela Bassett. Just about every big name you've heard of in the last, 100 years of film and television. I guess it's true that if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere, but you maybe have to be born there first. With all those movies and TV shows, your mental picture of New York City most likely has crowded streets, tons of traffic, and a lot of angry drivers honking horns. Well, here's factoid number 8. Honking your horn in New York is actually illegal, unless it's done to warn of danger. While the law is rarely enforced, drivers who illegally use their horn in New York face a $350 fine. And how can we talk about NYC without talking about food? Another New York City staple is the hot dog vendor. But here's fact number 9. Did you know their placement throughout the city isn't random? Vendors must apply and pay for a permit to operate, and depending on the location, those permits can cost nearly $300,000 per year. While that may seem high, many hot dog vendors rake in surprisingly big profits. So think of that the next time you're forking over $5 for a hot dog. Of course, that leads us to our final fact on New York City. Fact number 10. More billionaires call New York City home than anywhere else in the world. According to Forbes, more than 100 billionaires live in this city. The city's richest resident is former Mayor Michael Bloomberg, with an estimated net worth of $76.8 billion. So the hot dogs might be expensive, but they've got a lot of people who can afford them. And that is our list of 10 facts about New York City. Did you learn something new? Is there a city or topic you'd like to see in a future episode? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.